69,000 fans packed a stadium last year for a tournament that didn't even exist 4 years ago. That's not normal. And this summer, it gets bigger. Leagues Cup is sending games to Mexico for the first time in its history. Stick around, because there's a rule in this format where a tie technically doesn't exist and most fans still don't know it. Let's get into it. What is Leagues Cup, anyway? Quick reset for anyone who's never heard of this. Leagues Cup is a tournament between MLS and Liga MX, American and Canadian teams versus Mexican teams. Basically the Concacaf version of who's actually better, your league or mine. Since its launch, Leagues Cup has established itself as a premier regional competition, evolving through refined formats and an increased number of MLS versus Liga MX matchups. And fans have shown up in a big way. 69,000 people filled the stadium for the 2025 final in Seattle. That's a football stadium crowd for a tournament people used to joke was just preseason with trophies. Who's actually playing? Here's where it gets interesting. This isn't every team in both leagues. 36 clubs total, all 18 Liga MX teams, and 18 qualified MLS clubs. Notice that? All of Liga MX is in. Only half of MLS gets an invite. So how do you qualify if you're an MLS team? Top 9 finishers from each conference East and West in last year's MLS Cup playoffs earn a spot. Miss the playoffs, miss the tournament. On the Liga MX side, teams get ranked based on cumulative performance across the 2025 Apertura and Clausura tournaments. Different math, same idea, you earn your way in. Phase 1, the matchmaking round. This sounds simple. It isn't. Phase 1 forces interleague matchups only. Every game here is MLS versus Liga MX, no exceptions. No MLS team plays another MLS team. No Liga MX team plays another Liga MX team. Each club plays 3 matches built around the League's Cup rankings and regional groupings. Think of it like an organizer setting up blind dates where they already know who's compatible, except instead of romance, it's 2 leagues trying to prove a point. The no ties rule, you've never seen this. Here's the part that trips people up. Tied after 90 minutes? Straight to penalties. Every time. No exceptions. A regulation tie earns 1 point. Win it in a shootout, and that's 2 points. Win it outright in regulation, and you get 3. So technically, there's no such thing as a draw here, just a draw that becomes a shootout. You know the type of game where regulation ends flat and boring, and then suddenly it's the tensest 10 minutes of the whole tournament? That's every tied Phase 1 match. On purpose. Now, wait. It gets weirder. What happens if teams are still tied on points after all 3 Phase 1 games? This is where most explainer videos just skip it. Not this one. There's an actual tiebreaker order, and it's specific. First, whoever won more games in regulation, then goal difference, then goals scored, then fewest goals conceded. And if it's still tied after all that, they actually check a fair play table, basically, who picked up fewer cards. Yes, in a tournament this competitive, your discipline record could be the difference between advancing and going home. Making the cut, who advances. So you've played your 3 games. Now what? Top 4 teams from the MLS table and top 4 from the Liga MX table advance to the quarterfinals. 2 separate standings, 2 separate cutoffs, 8 teams moving on. Honestly, this is the smartest part of the format. It keeps both leagues' races completely separate, so a stacked Liga MX table doesn't accidentally squeeze out a deserving MLS team, or the other way around. Everybody's fighting inside their own lane. The knockout rounds. The interleague chaos keeps going. Interleague matchups are guaranteed all the way through the quarterfinals, meaning even in the knockouts, it's still MLS against Liga MX. No home league comfort zone. Then it's semifinals, a third-place match, and finally the Leagues Cup final. Extra time is gone in the knockouts. Tied after 90? Straight to penalties. Built for drama, not patience. The Mexico twist, this is new. Here's the actual headline for 2026. For the first time ever, Leagues Cup games are being played inside Mexico. The top 3 ranked Liga MX clubs will host matches on home soil. Toluca gets 2 home matches. Tigres gets 1 at Estadio Universitario, and Club America hosts 1 at Estadio Azteca, basically the mecca of soccer stadiums in North America. In theory, this levels a playing field that's existed since day 1, when every single Leagues Cup match was played in the US or Canada. In practice, imagine walking into Estadio Azteca as an MLS team for the first time in tournament history. That's not just a road game, that's an away game with a side of history. Why this actually matters. Last thing, and it's a big one. Top 3 finishers qualify for the 2027 Concacaf Champions Cup, and the Leagues Cup champion gets a bye straight into the round of 16. This isn't just a flashy summer exhibition anymore. Winning it opens a real door to continental competition. That's the difference between a trophy that looks nice in a case and a trophy that changes your entire next season. So here's the one-sentence version. Leagues Cup 2026 is 36 teams, guaranteed cross-border matchups, 0 patience for draws, and now, for the first time, real stakes on Mexican soil. Here's my question for you. Does bringing games to Mexico finally make this feel like a unified North American tournament, or is it still a preseason flavored sideshow with a fancy trophy? Next video, I'm ranking all 18 MLS teams' actual chances in this format. Subscribe so you don't miss it.